Hey, good morning. How's everybody doing? I thought that I was all prepared for right now, and as soon as I hit the start stream button, I was like, oh crap, I'm not very prepared. I have my things ready, but my mind has a lot of thinky thoughts, and so you're gonna have to work with me. Hi, Karma. Hi, Lisbeth. So I'm gonna do my best, and my throat is very sore today. So the first thing that I want to just talk about, just real fast, this that I have pulled up right now is something I transcribed from a video. Candace was Halo Wing. Candace was talking in this video, and she said that little swing right there off that tree, she loved to play right there in that yard. That was her favorite spot to be. So whoever took her had to actually come up into the yard and take her. And I don't understand because, like, my neighbor heard her scream, but I didn't hear her scream because I was in the house with the boys trying to find her. And I guess when my neighbor heard her scream, I was actually in the house and the TV was going, so I didn't even hear the scream. Does anybody know where that video is? Because the links that I wrote on this video, two of them don't work and the third one is the wrong one. I don't have Nightbot in here. I don't even know my login anymore. If somebody happens to know where that video is, that would be phenomenal. But I have a reason for bringing this up. So last time we were here, we were talking about Candace's story. And my opinion, perspective, thought, whatever you want to call it, has always been the same about the fact that Candace stops her story and then she was gone. And then her story stops. And I have such a problem with that. I feel like it's like she's reading us a story and then she's like, the end. And so I got to really thinking about that, which is how I found this. And then I got to saying to myself, I wonder how people, just in general, I wonder how people decide where to stop their storytelling. Like, I wonder what it is. If you're telling somebody about an event in your life, how do you determine where the story stops? Like, how do you decide? So, if you think about something that happened to you, it doesn't necessarily have to be bad, just some event that occurred in your life, and someone asked you to tell them about it, how do you decide where to start and where to stop? So I've been really thinking about that question. I don't know why I haven't really ever considered that, considering what I do and what I went to school for. I don't know why I never really sat and just thought about that. I know from my training that it's incredibly important where people start and stop, but I never really paid too much attention to the people that actually told the truth and how they decided where to start and stop, if you're being truthful. So I got to thinking, okay, what is it that, what happened to me that I could consider in my mind if I was going to tell somebody about a story? I have a lot of them, as most of you know. And I guess for me, hey, Jess, and I guess for me personally, if someone was asking me about an event, not just like, what'd you do today? If somebody is asking me about an event, I would start my story where the event began, or if there was some important information leading up to the event, I would start there to kind of give the backstory. And my story would stop where the event ended, or where there was some kind of conclusion, or some like wrapping up of whatever. And so, for example, just as an example, um, this one day, it was in 2009 in the spring, and it was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was raining. And so people had their headlights on. It was still light out, but it was like just dark enough that you needed your headlights. Okay. Now, see, I'm going to tell you about a car accident, but I decided to give you the backstory because it's important. It's relevant to the event. So I was going to go to the dentist. That's where I was headed. And my dentist at the time, his office was in a town next to the town I lived in. And so I had to drive on a 2-lane highway from the town I lived in to the town where my dentist was in. And it was like a 20-minute drive, doesn't matter. So I was heading to my dentist to get my teeth cleaned. And I had my son with me. He was younger at the time. And we were just heading out of town. There was like the final stoplight, and then you get into country. Those of you who are familiar with small town, you know what I'm talking about when you're going to get into the country. And the light had changed red. And so I was about, I think, maybe 3 cars back from the front of the line there for the stopping of the red light. And I noticed in my rearview mirror, I saw these headlights coming at me. And I was like, "What the hell?" Because they were coming at me fast. I mean, the headlights were approaching my car quickly, and I knew what was gonna happen. I'm like, "Oh my god, this guy's gonna hit me." And I had nowhere to go because there were cars in front of me, and I'm like, "What do I do?" And my number one concern in my mind was, I gotta make sure my kid doesn't get hurt. That was automatically where my brain's going. So all of this is happening in a matter of seconds. My mind is going a million miles an hour. And of course, I did the stereotypical mom thing. I threw my arm over as if my mom's seatbelt was going to protect my child. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? And I held on to dear life with my other hand to the steering wheel because I remembered from driver's ed way back when you want to try to make sure that your car doesn't like veer into other traffic. So you turn your wheel so it would go like in the ditch. So I'm holding on to the steering wheel with one hand and I've got my arm, my mom arm, holding my child. And I didn't say anything. I didn't say a word because I didn't want my son to tense up because that's the worst thing that can happen is you tense up your body if you're going to get in a car accident. It hurts you worse. I unfortunately didn't take my own advice and I was all tensed up. And so this guy hit me, rear ended my car going 55 miles an hour. It was horrible. It was awful. My son was like, "Hey, what's that?" I'm just like, "Okay, it's so good. Like he's not hurt." And I just kind of sat there because like I heard my car crunching. I knew it was bad, but I felt okay. I'm like, what was all the big deal about tensing up? No big deal. So we pulled over to the edge of the road and we exchanged information. And this guy turned out to be like a trainer of the firefighters in this small town. I'm like, way to go, guy. And I looked at the car and there was like some damage on the back, but it was, I needed to get my bumper fixed basically. And so I proceeded on to the next town to go get my teeth cleaned. And as I'm like sitting in the dentist chair, uh, about partway through my cleaning, all of a sudden this pain starts in the back of my head, kind of like where the top of your spine would be, and it just slowly starts going down my spine, and it gets to my like my shoulders, and it starts to like tee out, and then it just goes down my back, and I can't describe what it felt like. I can't. It was awful. It was horrible pain. And so I'm telling my dentist, I'm like, I can't sit in the dentist chair anymore. This is really hurting. And so he's like, "You need to go in the emergency room." So I did. After my dentist appointment got done, I went to the emergency room and they did all the imaging and they're like, "Oh, you have whiplash and you stretched out these muscles and all this sort of cornucopia of problems um, that was attributed to that." So that's where my story stops. Now, obviously, there's more to it because I had to get my car fixed and I had to, do like follow up appointments and there was like litigation and legal things going on. Hi, Sarah. But see, that's not part of the story that I included in when I was thinking about it. And I was like, like, how did I decide that my story ends with me going to the emergency room and then figuring out there's all these problems? Like, why did I stop my story there? And I'm like, well, that's where like that day stops. Hi, Mama Bear. I'm like, that's where my day stops. That event stops for me on that day at that time. So when I was thinking about Candace and telling her story, I'm like, So she starts her story um, at the whole washing of the hands and the planting of the flowers. I have that pulled up, and then she stops her story at the she was just gone. And so that's where this all sort of started. So if you think about it, if you yourself think about something that you went through, something, just for a minute, just pause and think, why did I start my story here? And why did I stop my story there? Because I'm really interested in knowing the those of you who are being honest and telling me a true story, how do you decide where to start and where to stop? If I say, tell me about a car accident you got in or something, tell me about the last time you went to the doctor. How would you decide? I'm honestly, legitimately, I really would do want to know. So that leads me to this talking about the swing thing here. And like I say, if you know where this video is, please tell me, because I don't even know where to look. I don't remember where I got it. And like I say, the two of the links that I wrote here that says video are not available anymore. So she's talking about the swing, and I assume, which you're not supposed to do in statement analysis, but I'm assuming that she's bringing up the swing because it's got some relevance to the thing that she's about to say. Like she's given a backstory. And then it goes on um, to she goes on to basically place Summer at her swing when she's allegedly abducted. Hey, Rockin' Robin, you're at a doctor's appointment. Tell us all about it. um, so now here you got it. Okay, so here let's do this. We're gonna pull this in. I know I call this the blue tank top interview in case you were unfamiliar. Let's just listen to the script real quick and we'll come right back to that. Here we go. I don't think it's gonna be too loud.
I know she didn't walk away from this property by herself or off this yard by her swing. I feel in my heart that somebody has came up here and took her, has lured her away from here. Me and my mother and her were planting flowers. And we went in after we got done washing our hands, and she got a piece of candy from grandma, and she wanted to go back over and see her brothers. And I said, okay. And I walked her all the way over to the porch, and I watched her walk into the kitchen where the boys were watching TV. And I told the boys, I said, watch Summer, I'll be back. And within 2 minutes, I came back. And I asked the boys where their sister was, and they said, she went downstairs, Mom, to play with her toys in the playroom. I said, okay. And I yelled downstairs for her a couple times, and I didn't get no answer, which was unusual because usually she always answers me. And so I went down there to check, and she was nowhere in sight. She was just gone.
She was just gone. And then what? And then what? Do you see what I'm saying? So if you take this and you combine this with the whole swing thing, the story is different now. Let me pull this back up. As I was sitting pondering all of this stuff, it dawned on me, and I don't know why, but it dawned on me that every time somebody publicly calls something out, all of a sudden Candace has a story for that. Like all of a sudden, Candace fills in a blank. She like back builds the story depending on what the public is paying attention to. So, and I have the video with Chris McDonough pulled up. So the thing about it is, if we're gonna pretend, Karma says, I've always wondered why that piece of candy was so important. I have an opinion about that. We'll get to that in a minute. So we're gonna just pretend she's telling the truth because that's what we're supposed to do. Let's play this out logically. So Summer goes in the house. Now she's going to have an interaction with her brothers. You guys want to hang out or play or whatever, and they're going to say no. And she's going to be like, okay, I'm going to go downstairs then. And she goes down those really steep stairs and whatever. And she's placed herself downstairs then, or Candace has placed her there. Candace says that she was gone for like 2 minutes. So that would mean that Summer would have a conversation with the brothers, and then walked down the steep stairs and gone into the basement for some period of time, gone out the basement door, walked back up around to her swing. Somebody would have had to abduct her from the swing and get her completely out of sight before Candace comes back around to go in the house. That's all supposed to happen in 2 minutes. All of that. If you're going to believe that. So let's just eliminate the swing portion. Just, okay, we'll just give it the benefit of the doubt. You still have the conversation with the brothers, the going down the stairs, and then you're in the basement. And then what is somebody supposed to open the basement door and take you and move you out of the property within 2 minutes? All that's supposed to happen within 2 minutes? It makes no sense. I mean, even if you try really hard to believe her, it's literally impossible. That it cannot happen that way. It just cannot. There's something in that story that's not true. It just can't happen that way. So, and I'm not saying that she wasn't abducted. I'm not trying to say that. All I'm saying is that no matter what we do as scientists here, put on your scientist hat, no matter what we do, we cannot make her story work logically. You can't bend space and time to accommodate her story. It just doesn't work that way. But one of the things that I noticed about this particular thing when I was looking at it, she says, I was in the house. I was actually in the house and the TV was going, so I didn't even hear the scream. But here's the problem. So when somebody is recalling something from memory, they're usually going to tell you it in chronological order. If someone is skipping around in the timeline, there's a problem. So she says initially that somebody had to come up in the yard and take her, and that she didn't hear the scream because she was in the house with the boys looking for Summer. So essentially, what she's saying, okay, let me back you up one step. So she's coming back from fixing the knee brace with grandma. She's going to walk right past the swing to go into the kitchen door. We all know this. So then she places herself in the kitchen with the boys. So she's right there next to where the swing is, just inside the house. And then she says that she has this conversation with the boys and she walks downstairs. And then apparently they can't find her. And then they're going to look for her. And all of this is happening before the scream happens. Do you follow me? They're searching in this story right now. They're searching for Summer before Summer gets lost. If you're going to assume that the scream really happened, if you're going to assume that that's her abduction, then they're searching for Summer before Summer was abducted. You follow me on that one? And then, as a little side note, she's talking about how the TV is on and how she can't hear the scream because of the TV. Well, if you're searching for your child and the TV is loud, why would you not turn off the TV and start hollering for her? Why would you leave the TV on? I mean, that would, common sense would tell you that's going to drown out somebody's voice. You would mute the TV. That's like a natural thing you would be doing. So her sequence of events here, she basically places Summer at the swing, but she would have had to walk right past that swing to get into the house. And then her, I don't know how else to word this. She places Summer at the swing, and then she places herself in the house looking for Summer, although she should have just seen her at the swing, all before Summer gets missing. It doesn't work. It can't work like that. It just doesn't work that way. It's impossible. So either there was no swing problem. I mean, she wasn't at the swing. Otherwise, Candace would have saw her at the swing. Or she was at the swing and Candace did see her and just doesn't want to tell us the rest of the story. Or the whole thing is just a big fat lie. It can't all be true. And the time cannot possibly be correct. It can't work that way unless Candace has the ability to change time. So if Summer was at the swing, Candace would have heard or seen something, obviously. If Candace heard or saw nothing, then Summer was likely not at the swing. And if Summer wasn't at the swing, then this story is false. That's how it goes. That's all there is to it. There's no two ways about it. So the whole she was just gone business. So my opinion on that is that either she didn't find Summer downstairs and did nothing, and then later on was like, okay, I still can't find her, or Candace did something after she was just gone, did something that is damaging to her, like didn't call 911 right away, for example. Mm, you know where I'm going with that one. So the fact that there's no next, the absence of the next thing, it's got to have, there's something wrong there. I'm telling you. The piece of candy is very interesting to me. It always has been. I believe that that has some really big significance for whatever reason. Um, my initial feelings about that was that getting the piece of candy was some sort of special gift. Like it wasn't a routine thing. Because why else would it be mentioned in the story? I mean, if it was a normal event, then it would just be like whatever. But but at the same time, going to give benefit of the doubt here. Per Peter Hyatt, what he calls a parent's D-Day when their child goes missing. And they're going to remember that thing play by play by play, every little possible detail you can imagine. So I can see it going that way as well. She's telling us about the washing of the hands and the piece of the candy because she's having a play by play. Okay, I'm not saying that, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. But speaking of the piece of candy, coincidentally enough, I have it pulled up somewhere. The Peter Hyatt thing, where he talks about this story. I thought maybe we could watch that, and then we're going to get into the news situation. So if you know where that one video is where she's talking about the swing and stuff, I want to hear her talking. I wish I would have recorded it. All right, I'm going to be quiet. I'm just going to let this play through. I'm not going to interrupt. If I know we've all seen this a million times, but I think it would be good to have like a refresher. And then we're going to hit up the news. Let me see if I've missed anything in my notes. I don't think so. Okay, here we go.
The disappearance of Summer Wells, a case that has brought much interest as a 5-year-old has been missing more than 2 weeks. The first thing we notice about the case is that the father's account is not reliable in the sense that he's repeating what someone else told him. So that must be discounted. And I'm aware of his criminal background. I'm aware of the obvious issues of substance abuse that may surround the family. But I'd like to focus on the mother's statement, and I've broken it down here. It's a little bit shorter. You can get the full statement online. But to show what is concerning, what we know and what we don't know. So I'm going to start with the conclusion of the matter. The conclusion of the matter is that we don't know the source of the mother's guilt in this statement. And I'd like to show that to everyone here. The mother has indicated a belief or knowledge that Summer isn't coming back. Now that goes against the normal parental capacity of protection and denial, especially a mother. So it's something that I'm concerned about. But when she was finally convinced to go into the media and speak to the media, which itself is unusual in terms of behavioral analysis, the mother wants to call out to the kidnapper. The mother said, and I've abbreviated a bit, "Me and my mother and her were planting flowers, and we went in after we got done washing our hands, and she got a piece of candy from Grandma. I walked her all the way over to the porch and watched her walking into the kitchen." So from that statement, and it's abbreviated, it says more, I'm able to conclude neglect. Now, some will counter and say, given the family circumstances, domestic violence, substance abuse, perhaps some cognitive limitations, that's to be expected. And it's true, it is to be expected. But it's in the language regarding what happened. So if a sex offender has grabbed little Summer, or human trafficking, that sort of thing, a kidnapper, mom shows guilt, but I can't tell whether the guilt is because she caused Summer's disappearance or the guilt of neglect, which is here. But there's some also interesting things within this statement that call our attention to specific details. So she's asked what happened. Me and my mother and her. We like to hear a mother in particular use her daughter's name. And this was the beginning of what happened. She uses the pronoun her. I believe at this point even, that's some distancing language, psychological distancing. I say, well, what about if mom has cognitive limitations? That will impact the language. It certainly does. But if she speaks with an expectation of being understood and communicates with people, we adjust our context and we still analyze the words. Me and my mother and her, and we note the order, were planting flowers, and we went in after we got done washing our hands. Now, if you're planting flowers in the dirt, your hands are dirty, and the expectation is you're going to wash your hands. The expectation is not that you're going to have a need to talk about it. And this is where we often explore for guilt. I don't doubt that she washed her hands, and I'm not saying she lied about that. But what she's doing is including information that isn't necessary for the case, but does something else. We often find washing, when it is included unnecessarily, as another signal of guilt, among other things. So washing our hands not only will cause us to question, hey, why do you need to include that? We're not reinterpreting washing of hands to mean something else. We're wondering why the need to include that. We often find it in statements of guilt. And she, so another pronoun she, got a piece of candy from grandma. Washing our hands slows down the pace of the statement. Tell us what happened. She went missing while we were planting flowers. That would be very quick and easy. But instead, we have a pace that's being slowed down, which often indicates tension, stress, and possibly even deception later on. I don't know if that's the case here, but I'm certainly open to it. Then I have the pronoun she again, not Summer, got a piece of candy from grandma. That's immaterial to what happened, we would think. But this also slows down the pace of getting to what is essentially the information that's needed. Now, she's a 5-year-old, and this is a normal household. This is all things that we presuppose. And 5-year-olds love to play, they love to wander, they love to have candy. I walked her to the porch. I walked her all the way to the porch, as if it's an extraordinary event, something out of the ordinary, something that's not normal. This is a portrayal of the subject by herself, the mother, as a good and conscientious mother who is diligently watching over her child. The need to include this information suggests to the contrary. And when you have a couple of those points, you realize you're looking at neglect. So it's not just the socioeconomic status, the substance abuse issues, the domestic violence reports, some of those things. It's in the language as well. And watched her walking into the kitchen. On a normal day, outside in your yard, planting flowers or doing anything, would you recall watching someone all the way in at age 5 who runs in and out likely on her own many times? This is another indicator of guilt due to neglect. So it is possible that a sex offender got Summer, and mom has tremendous guilt for not watching her more carefully. That's certainly a possibility. And another possibility is that mom's actions caused something to go terribly wrong with Summer. The first one we look at, we talk about guilty knowledge a lot. Guilty knowledge being mom knows what happened to her, and the guilt is because of that. But the first one we're looking at is called attendant guilt. In other words, something took place that the subject didn't do. She didn't cause Summer's disappearance, but something else was going on there, and she feels guilty over that. And I don't know at this point, because of the way the interview was conducted, what it is. Now, the interviewer had an opportunity to say, hey, you didn't want to speak out because of all the nasty comments that people make on social media. What would you like to say to them? This would have given her an opportunity to say, I didn't cause Summer's disappearance. I don't know why the interviewer didn't ask the obvious question, but if your child was missing, would you care what people on social media said? Now, you might if it was impacting search efforts, which it wasn't. The search efforts were tremendous. But a maternal instinct, and for most people, just human empathy, and not knowing what happened would cause them to do whatever it takes to run out, call for her child immediately, and address the kidnapper. So investigators have a difficult case on their hands, not simply because of the time that has passed along, but because of the mother's statement. You've heard things from media where it appears law enforcement is confused, quote unquote, about what happened. And that's a deliberate statement that's meant to say, we've got some issues here. We don't have a clear answer of what happened, and that's important. I had a case many years ago where
I'm sorry to interrupt him. I'm going to back that up just 1 minute because it sounds an awful lot like what we were talking about.
Would cause them to do whatever it takes to run out, call for her child immediately, and address the kidnapper. So investigators have a difficult case on their hands, not simply because of the time that has passed along, but because of the mother's statement.
You guys remember my whole current theory right now about the changing of the language by law enforcement? About how on day 2, all of a sudden they're like, this is what we were told. We can't tell you if that's true. On, the first day, the 16th, they were all like, this is what happened. And then after that, it was, we were told this, this, and this. Doesn't that kind of sound like what we were talking about when we were going over this a couple days ago?
So investigators have a difficult case on their hands, not simply because of the time that has passed along, but because of the mother's statement.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard things from media where it appears law enforcement is confused, quote unquote, about what happened. And that's a deliberate statement that's meant to say, we've got some issues here. We don't have a clear answer of what happened, and that's important. I had a case many years ago where a little girl went missing, and the father was deceptive about what happened when she went missing. And it proved later on that he didn't do it. What was he deceptive about then? We learned that he was deceptive because he was under the influence of drugs, and at that point, incapable of giving eyes on protection to the little girl, who was able to open the door herself and wander away. So that's called attendant guilt, and it's very difficult at times to discern. So the conclusion of the matter is it's inconclusive. We need more of a statement. The 911 call, of course, would be telling. I don't have any association with the case. I'm just going strictly by the public record. Mom shows guilt, but mom also shows the knowledge, referencing her daughter in the past tense several times, that her daughter isn't coming back alive. We need to know why that is. Has she been told something that was so sobering that it knocked parental capacities down, the capacities of protection and denial? Or is it something else that needs to be said?
Yeah. I wish that he would have done more. So, going back to my original thought that I started with when we started today, where does an average person decide to start and stop their story on any event? If I were to say, tell me about your day yesterday, you'll probably tell me about everything you did yesterday, most likely in chronological order, because that's what honest people do. But if someone wanted to ask you about a specific event, how do you decide where to start and where to stop? I still want to know. So I want to take you over here really fast to the interview room. It is what it is. Um, so this is supposed to be D-Day, the worst day ever, right? Candace says, she goes in the house. She's like, where's Summer? The boys are like, she went downstairs to play with her toys. She's like, okay. She hollered down there. She didn't get a response. So she went down there to look. She was just gone. Then she stops her story. But here's the thing. So they're going to go out the basement door here. Let me play this.
Possibly look under.
Yep.
And then I come over here and I look on one side and stand and work. And I don't recall if this was locked or not.
I don't recall if this was locked or not. I don't recall. How would you not recall that? If you are gone for 2 minutes and you're just sitting at the door of the camper fixing this knee brace, and you walk back around, you walk past her swing, you have this brief discussion where Summer, you're yelling down there, she's not responding, you go down there to check, she's gone. Why would a kidnapper close the door? Just asking. But how is it that don't you think that she would be like, oh my God, this door is unlocked? To me, that is so, it's illogical. That's an important detail in my mind, knowing whether or not that door was locked. She should know that. If she actually went downstairs to check and actually went out the door looking for Summer, she would remember if it was locked or not. I'm going to stand by that. And that's not an opinion. I believe that that's a fact. If it's true she went out the basement door, she would know if it was locked or not. There's no way she would have forgotten that or not noticed that.
And I don't recall if this was locked or not. I don't recall that.
Okay.
But I know, it's hard on me. But I know I did come out here and I said, Summer. Because sometimes she'll sit right here and just sit here and play just for, And usually when she comes out and she goes directly that way up to the swing.
Oh, okay. So this is like her.
Yeah, she
come running out. Oh, yeah, you can see the path here.
Right to the swing.
Right.
So usually she goes out the door and goes up to the swing. Okay, but see, the thing is, though, that Candace is supposed to only be gone for 2 minutes. Not even in a building. She's supposed to be outside. And within 2 minutes, Summer's supposed to have a conversation with her brothers, walk down the stairs, go in the basement, go out the basement door, run up the side of the hill, go onto the swing, get abducted, and get off the property within 2 minutes. All of that's going to happen in 2 minutes. Impossible. It's 100% impossible. And if you take away the swing part, get rid of the going out to the swing, okay, just eliminate that part. You have going in the house, having a conversation with the boys, going down the stairs, being downstairs, having a kidnapper come up and open the basement door and take her out of the basement and apparently close the door and then walk or run or whatever off the property with her. Again, you only got 2 minutes you're working with. Only 2 minutes of time. It cannot happen. It's impossible to happen. And so the more that I was thinking about this, the more that I'm very, very convinced that the place that she stops her story, the whole she was just gone, is important. It's so important for a lot of reasons. And that's as far as I can take it because I don't know where else to go with it. Other than to say, every time it gets brought up by the public, all of a sudden she adds more details. The initial story, she was just gone, the end, makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. I'm not saying the whole thing is false. I'm just saying that the whole thing as a whole can't all work out. It just can't all be true. Not that it's all false. It just can't all be true. That's where I'm at with it. So, let me pull this in. We're up to June 18th. Does anybody have anything they want to bring up about this before we move on? Just asking. Hey, Lisa. Is that how you say your name, Lisa? Hey, Cat's Hodgepodgery. Did I miss anybody? I don't think I did. I'm not sure. So we're going to start with this little news update thing from the TBI on the 18th, because then they do the press conference. So we're going to watch this real fast. And as a reminder, if you missed the last time we were having a conversation, part one of this, we were really paying attention to the information that changed with law enforcement, how they backed off, how they were so committed to some statements. Let's see. She was last seen outside of her home. Her brothers reported seeing her go out the basement door. I just uploaded that little video yesterday, I think. She was last seen outside of her home. Her family reported her missing at 6:30. She's been gone for about 10 minutes. She's 5 years old. Oh, yes. Ronnie Lawson says, quote, she's 5 years old and she left the house and evidently she got a little further than they expected. That was a direct quote. I wrote it down. But then everything changes. On the 17th, it's all different. All of a sudden, it's the circumstances remain unclear. What time is it? The time is varied because they were searching for their child themselves. Everybody's a person of interest until we find Summer. All of a sudden, it's all different. So here we go. So we're at the 18th. I'm going to move out of the way, I think. I think that's what we'll do. I'll move. Here we go.
I'm Leslie Earhart with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. Numerous local, state, and federal agencies are here in Hawkins County assisting in the search for 5-year-old Summer Wells. Here's the latest on the investigation. Summer was reported missing from her home in the 100 block of Ben Hill Road at around 6:30 p.m. on June 15th. She was reportedly last seen wearing gray pants, a pink shirt, and was possibly barefoot. At this time, the circumstances of her disappearance remain unclear, which means investigators have to explore all possibilities. Teams have searched from the air as well as on the ground, combing through thick and steep terrain.
We also have the investigators following every lead that comes in on TBI find, and also the ones called into Central Dispatch. Every lead is important to us, and we follow every one. We still want to encourage the public and community, if they know something or see something, then they need to make us a call, and they can remain anonymous.
We continue to hold out hope that Summer will be found safe. Anyone with information regarding her whereabouts is asked to call.
So that's all we get. That's all we get from TBI for that little update. But then they have the press conference. Real Rock and Robin says, what did law enforcement learn in that time frame exactly? I'd love to know. They probably figured out that it was there was problems with the timeline, obviously. So this is a video that I found, and but I don't remember where I got it from. I'm sorry for the quality.
And limited communication.
Summer Wells is missing. She's 5 years old. She's 4 foot tall, blonde hair. Last seen wearing a pink shirt and gray pants. According to her siblings, she just walked out the back door and then disappeared. So we don't know where she went, if she went toward the road or in the woods.
Very mountainous.
Her brothers say that she went out the door. That's what he says.
And limited communication.
Summer Wells is missing. She's 5 years old. She's 4 foot tall, blonde hair. Last seen wearing a pink shirt and gray pants. According to her siblings, she just walked out the back door and then disappeared. So we don't know where she went.
According to her siblings, she walked out the back door. This was like the first day. This was the evening of the 15th. And then all of a sudden everything changed. Everything is different now. It's so interesting to me. All right. Now we are at June 18th, the media briefing. I have a really hard time with the whole, they can't give us even like an approximation. I don't know how anybody's supposed to help figure this out. I know they always blame the boys. It's always their fault. I made a video about that the other day. I don't know if you watched it. about Dawn blaming the boys for not, it's in the child neglect video I made. All right, here we go.
Good afternoon. I'm Leslie Earhart with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. We can't thank you enough for your continuing coverage and helping us get the word out about summer. Before I turn it over to Captain Coop, I want to reiterate that there are two aspects of this investigation: the search and the investigation itself. You've heard a lot about the search because that's something we can elaborate on. What you haven't heard a lot about is what's happening outside of the search. Rest assured that agents and Hawkins County detectives are investigating this fully. All avenues are being explored. As of this afternoon, we've received approximately 85 tips. Agents and officers continue to follow up on each lead that comes in. At the same time, teams continue to search the area around Ben Hill Road for any sign of summer. Captain Tim Coop is with the Churchill Rescue Squad. He's currently serving as the incident commander for ground search operations. He's going to talk about the status of the search and the specialized teams being utilized today. Captain.
Thank you, Leslie. Once again, I wish we could bringing you guys better news, but this time on the search side of operations, we have no further new news. The following methods are continuing to be used today to try to locate Summer. Ground crews comprised of over 100 trained professionals, aerial and aviation being completed by helicopter and fixed-wing aircraft, multiple canines, and also utilizing a specialized advanced mapping. The following new methods of search being utilized today are dive teams, hazardous and extreme terrain search teams, subject matter experts. We have deployed the state TAC and radio system to increase radio coverage for search and law enforcement efforts. USAR, the urban search and rescue teams, and also have deployed state and federal resources. At this time, we have a total of 41 agencies involved in being represented in the search for summer whales. We have, at the completion of search efforts as of yesterday, the 17th, we have covered 688 acres of ground of extreme terrain. We're on the track to completing a total of 1,000 acres of land covered thoroughly by the completion of today's search efforts. Once again, as we have stated, we are still experiencing steep and dangerous terrain, which causes our teams to become exhausted very quick. We are and will continue to work with and alongside local, state, and federal search and law enforcement agencies to locate summer whales, which is our ultimate mission to complete. Thank you. I'll now hand it over to Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson.
First of all, I want to thank y'all for coming. We are amazed at the amount of attention this has. A lot of it because of you all, but we are monitoring all social medias. We are just overwhelmed with the support of the community. I've been in law enforcement almost 44 years, and I've never seen an outpour of a community supporting any other cause because they know it's all about finding summer. We have a lot of people praying. We have a lot of people with boots on the ground. And just like Leslie said, we have 2 investigations going. And I can assure you that the investigation on part of law enforcement is extremely intense. It's just like the boots on the ground and all the searching is going on, coordinated by Captain here. It's a very, very hard. The volunteers are great. And we really don't need the general public. As the captain said, we got trained professionals in the woods. We know exactly where they are, how they're doing. They check on them routinely. We know how many is out there, who's out there, and we know when they come back. If the general public helps, then we will not know they're out there and we could lose somebody else. We're still wanting people to call 1-800-TBI-FIND for information, any they have. And like I said yesterday, everything's on the table. We're trying to find exactly what happened to this young lady, and we're not going to stop until we find her.
Does anybody have any questions? We'll take a couple.
Yes, I have a question for Captain Coop. In speaking with dive teams, what are you guys actually doing with them? Is that searching ponds, creeks, lakes? Could you just elaborate a little bit more on what that search has looked like? We talked about ground and aerial.
Yes. So our specialized teams, as I spoke on, the USAR, the dive teams, as both Sheriff Ray Lawson and Leslie spoke, we are pursuing every avenue. We're covering every ground cover. We're covering every aspect. At the end of it, if we don't cover it, we have to cover everything 100%. We're utilizing them just to clear waterways, areas that we can't put our normal people into, the canines, stuff that aerial cannot see that well. We want to get in there, flip every rock, check every crevice, check every spot, just to make sure we don't miss a spot.
Are there a lot of streams back in this area or ponds?
Yes.
Can you give us, I know we can kind of see some of the lush vegetation and what's happening in the sky, but what's it like back there for you all?
Yes, there are numerous streams and creeks that run back out of the mountains on both sides of Beech Creek Road, along with Beech Creek itself. And there are lots of ponds, holding spots for livestock and other things that we feel are just as important as the rest of the search efforts.
Sheriff, I have a question for you as far as the investigation goes. I know you probably can't comment on a whole lot, but are you able to say if you've executed any search warrants during this time?
Actually, we've done a tremendous amount of searches, and every one has been a consent search. The community has really stood out. They want to help. They want to give advice. They want to give information, and we've not had to obtain not one search warrant.
Sorry to interrupt that, but that's kind of interesting to me. Not one search warrant. They didn't get a search warrant for anything? Does that mean that every single person was like, "Here, look at whatever you want"? Or does that mean that the places that they chose to look didn't request a search warrant? Because it can really go either way. Sorry to interrupt, but that was interesting.
Say if you've executed any search warrants during this time?
Actually, we've done a tremendous amount of searches, and every one has been a consent search. The community has really stood out. They want to help. They want to give advice. They want to give information, and we've not had to obtain not one search warrant. And it due part that everybody in the community is wanting to find Summer.
And Leslie, I know you talk about credible tips. Can you kind of go into what is a credible tip?
If you have information about Summer, if you saw Summer the day she went missing, anything like that, if you captured a photo on a trail camera or surveillance camera, that's a credible tip. Anything that would assist us. Something you see on social media that you know is somebody's opinion or just speculation, that's not a credible tip. In fact, that just bogs law enforcement down by having us, we have to go through and check that information and then mark it off. So please, credible tips, we welcome information, but just don't share speculation and rumors that you see on social media.
I have a question. I'm kind of reluctant to ask it, but is there a point in this search when you all will come to the conclusion that this is not a lost child anymore? This is possibly an abduction? Is there an amount of time or amount of territory?
Well, at this time, the circumstances leading to Summer's disappearance are very much under investigation. So currently, it's an active and ongoing investigation. We're not going to stop until we determine what happened to her, and we're just taking it one day at a time.
What has the interaction been like with the child's parents? I know that they've spoken with us on and off the record about interactions with law enforcement, mentioning polygraph tests and so forth. Can you speak to us a little bit about the interaction with the parents and how they've helped or not helped with the investigation?
All I can say in that aspect is that they're currently cooperating.
Sorry. I want to back it up to hear that question again.
So currently, it's an active and ongoing investigation. We're not going to stop until we determine what happened to her, and we're just taking it one day at a time.
What has the interaction been like with the child's parents? I know that they've spoken with us on and off the record about interactions with law enforcement, mentioning polygraph tests and so forth. Can you speak to us a little bit about the interaction with the parents and how they've helped or not helped with the investigation?
So the question, I can't really hear the whole thing, but it's something about Tell us about how the parents have helped or not helped.
All I can say in that aspect is that they're currently cooperating.
Oh my god. That is such a non-answer. That's probably the most non-answery answer I've ever heard.
About interactions with law enforcement, mentioning polygraph tests and so forth. Can you speak to us a little bit about the interaction with the parents and how they've helped or not helped with the investigation?
All I can say in that aspect is that they're currently cooperating.
How they've helped or not. I'm gonna write this down. Because I want to look more into that statement. How they have helped or not helped. I wonder what that means. All I can say.
Not helped with the investigation.
All I can say in that aspect is that they're.
All I can say in that aspect.
Currently cooperating. All I can say in that aspect is that they're currently cooperating.
Is that they're currently cooperating. I wonder what that means. Currently cooperating. I know, right?
Aspect is that they're currently cooperating.
Try that
All
again.
I can say in that aspect is that they're currently cooperating.
That face? Is that Radio Gods, is this the face you're talking about? that face. That face to me is like muttering under her breath a whole long string of profanity. That's all that I can hear in my brain. Oh, she absolutely wants to say a whole lot. To me, it seems like she wants to just let it rip. Oh, that is interesting. Man, she's not happy. Not happy.
When we also spoke with Mr. Wells, you mentioned some needs being followed up on local sex offenders as well as people in this area who often buy drugs. Can you confirm those details of whether those things have been actually followed up?
I cannot. I can just tell you that any information we have, any lead that comes in, we're going to follow up on that, and all avenues are being explored.
How are crews feeling right now? Again, back to Captain Coop and Sheriff Lawson. How are they handling this right now, especially with we've kind of seen an increase in temperature outside?
So, as stated before, the outpouring of community and businesses in this area, they are very limited on the time. Once they get certain areas of covered, they are being required to come back to the command post and staging area to rehab. Plenty of water, Powerade, Gatorade, food, protein bars, stuff to keep them hydrated and nourished during this whole entire time. And as one stated before I left, they are also 100% involved. They said we will not stop.
As far as the law enforcement aspect, we have the TBI system in my office and the FBI, and it's a partnership and a joint operation where if somebody comes in with a tip, just whichever agent standing there, whichever officer, whether it's mine, one of the TBI or FBI agents, they jump on it. It doesn't matter who solves the case, whatever. We just want to find Summer. That's first and foremost.
One more question.
I actually have one last question regarding something that the father told us yesterday. He was saying that she would never leave their hill where they live, and he highly believes that this is an abduction. Is there anything that you can say that maybe could point to that? He mentioned something about the canines going along a trail that runs dead. So is there anything that you guys have seen that proves this, or is there any sign that that may be true?
I don't know if you guys can hear the question, but she's saying that she had talked to Dawn, and that Dawn was saying that Summer would never go off the hill, and that it's hands down an abduction, and that Dawn told the reporter about the dog trail and the canines following the scent down the dog trail. That's the gist of what she's talking about.
We're exploring all avenues, so at this time, we can't confirm that. However, in the event that we do develop that information and confirm it was an abduction and have information to share, you will be the first to know. And we want to confirm that. However, in the event that we do develop that information and confirm it was an abduction and have information to share, you will be the first to know. And we want to reassure the community that we will let them know immediately. That's information that we would want to get out to the public as quickly as possible. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you being here.
Okay, so I have a question then for you guys. Let's say that your child goes missing. I'm glad that they don't. I'm glad that they haven't, but let's just go with that, okay? And you get wind of a possible break in the case. Like, let's say the canines. Why would you turn around and then broadcast that through the media? Like, if law enforcement isn't releasing that information, why would you do that? I mean, don't you think that that would like endanger the case and might put your child in more danger? If it were me, I'm very glad it's not. But if it were me, I would do absolutely nothing to that could cause the alleged abductor to think that the police are on to them. Like, I would not be disclosing any information unless the police told me to, other than being on the news and pleading for the safe return of my child. Hmm. Hi, Janice. Interesting. All right. We're going to move to the next one. It's the white t-shirt thing. Here we go.
So when her mother come in, she says, "Where's Summer?" She went down in the basement. She didn't answer, so she went down there and she was gone. So she went out the basement door, which was unlocked, and we haven't seen her since.
This morning.
Uh-oh. There's a problem. She went out the basement door, which was unlocked. This is also from the 18th, by the way. And it's on WJHL. The links are in the description. I'm adding them as we're moving along. Which was unlocked. It's weird because then later on, Candace can't remember. Didn't they have something propped up in front of that door? Like a mattress or something? At some point?
She didn't answer, so she went down there and she was gone. So she went out the basement door, which was unlocked, and we haven't seen her since.
This morning, Donald Wells spoke on camera for the first time since his daughter disappeared.
Please let Summer be okay, and please come home.
He says it's unlikely Summer would leave the house on her own. Wells says the last time anyone in the family saw Summer was when she entered the house to play in the basement after gardening with her mother and grandmother. Wells also spoke about his gut feeling about Summer's whereabouts.
Some bad person grabbed her, but we have no idea.
Wells says law enforcement have covered leads on area sex offenders and drug addicts.
We're trying to think, beat our brains out. We've covered everything that we can think of already.
Investigators say they have followed up on 85 tips so far. Wells says he is overwhelmed by the massive numbers of personnel on site.
We just really appreciate everybody trying to help that they have, law enforcement and all these volunteers that are here. I've never seen anything like this in my entire life.
That was John Janko reporting those sentiments shared by Hawkins.
Yeah. Radio God says, I've always hated this one, the way he holds Josie. I know. I agree. I feel the same way. I don't know why you would take your child out to in front of the media and expose him to, I mean, if it were me, I'm glad it's not, but if it were me and my child had a sibling, I would distance my child's sibling as far as I could away from this whole thing and protect them as best as I could, because that's traumatic. That's traumatizing. He was only like, what, 12 at the time? Yeah, that's.
County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson, who said he has never seen a show of public support like this in his 4 decades of law enforcement.
Yeah, today the TBI and Sheriff Lawson said Summer's family does continue to cooperate in this ongoing search for the little girl. They say that at all points the family has continued to be assisting in this process.
Well, as we've heard through this search, crews are facing a tough task with this terrain in the area.
Yeah, it's rough for sure. The TBI released aerial video of the home where Summer lived and the surrounding area to give you some perspective of what rescue personnel are dealing with as they continue to search for the child. They continue to show us these pictures of very dense brush in a hilly area, combining for an extremely difficult search today.
The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation said they have received dozens of tips from the public since issuing this alert for Summer Wells.
And they revealed a bit more today into the massive search for the little girl involving law enforcement and rescue crews. Bianca Murray continues coverage with highlights from a news conference this afternoon. Bianca?
Josh and Sarah, authorities said today that while this is a search for Summer, it is also an investigation into what happened leading up to her disappearance. Authorities said all avenues are being explored. A spokesperson for the TBI said as of this afternoon, they've received 85 tips and all tips are being followed up. According to crews on the ground, search methods expanded today to offer a wider range. Churchill Rescue Squad's captain Tim Coop said over 100 trained professionals from over 40 agencies are working to find Summer Wells. New search methods were also added today to better sift through creeks and crevices around Ben Hill Road.
Dive teams, hazardous and extreme terrain search teams, subject matter experts. We have deployed the state TAC and radio system to increase radio coverage for search and law enforcement efforts. USAR, the urban search and rescue teams, and also have deployed state and federal resources.
As of Thursday, Coop says over 680 acres have been searched with the hope of having 1,000 acres searched by 8 p.m. tonight. As for the community, Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson today confirmed community members have consented to law enforcement searching their properties. He said no search warrant has been necessary in the search for Summer. Now, this is one of the radio signal boosters that officials mentioned today. They said the towers like this will help search crews be able to better communicate via radio. However, phone signal, cell phone signal that is still pretty bad. Reporting live from the scene in the Beech Creek community, I'm Bianca Murray for News Channel 11.
Thank you, Bianca. That cell phone problem, a major issue.
Yes, that cell phone problem, the repeaters. Radio Guts is not providing a clean environment for your children to grow and learn in is excuse me, neglect, and no one will change my mind. I know. Did you see the video I put up a couple of days ago about neglect and the definition of neglect and the guidelines for leaving a child unattended? Don flat out admitting that that they do that. Let me fast forward here. All right, here we go. So this one is from the 20th, because we've hit the weekend, right? So there's no updates. This one is from the 20th, if you're keeping track. Here we go.
Just joining us, we're continuing to follow the search for Summer Wells, the Hawkins County 5-year-old who disappeared Tuesday night. This weekend, the search effort stretched far beyond the TBI and Hawkins County resources. Bianca Murray is live in the Beech Creek community where she's been following the efforts for today. Bianca, who else is helping in the search and what's the latest out there?
Kelly, night 6 in the search for Summer Wells just wrapped up around 8 o'clock tonight. Crews from over 70 agencies have gathered here in the Beech Creek community to look for the little girl. But what exactly happened to Summer Wells still remains a mystery. As of this afternoon, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation received 137 tips about Summer's whereabouts, with crews combing through thick vegetation, scaling steep hills, having search dogs follow trails, and even diving in creeks and ponds surrounding the Wells home on Ben Hill Road, the area from which Summer disappeared. Her father tells me that last night search crews followed up on a lead near their house with dogs, flashlights, and even a helicopter.
Well, the helicopter was flying till 4 in the morning, and we was hopeful that they had some kind of lead or something like that. So we was up till 4 in the morning watching, and but nothing. We haven't come up with anything.
Authorities say they will continue to search for Summer from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. daily until they find her, unless they receive a tip, at which point they will go back out and continue their search efforts, which was what they did last night. Ground crews were out until 1 a.m. following that lead last night. But at this point, Kelly, Summer's father believes that she is no longer in the forest here behind me in the Beech Creek community. He believes that she has been abducted. Now, we will continue to keep up with law enforcement to see what their progress is on the investigation. Live from the Beech Creek community, I'm Bianca Marais for News Channel 11.
35 different rescue squads from across the region and the United States flooded into Hawkins County this weekend to help search for a 5-year-old.
Let me just double check the date on this one. The 20th still.
Summer Wells. You're watching News Channel 11 and ABC Tri-Cities at 11. I'm Kelly Grossfield. Summer disappeared Tuesday night from her home in the Beech Creek community of Hawkins County. Her parents say she went out of a door in their basement and she hasn't been seen since. Crews estimate they've been searching about 2,400 acres since Tuesday night. Tonight marks night 6 of searching for Summer, with daily efforts wrapping up around 8 p.m. each night. But last night they went far beyond that, with crews working well into the early morning hours. Now take another look at this photo. This is Summer. She has blonde hair, blue eyes, and stands about 3 feet tall. Bianca Marais spoke with Summer's father again today, a Father's Day spent without his little girl. Bianca, what did he have to say?
Kelly, Father's Day is supposed to be a celebration that families can enjoy. Well, Don Wells, Summer Wells' father, told me he just wants his daughter back. And unfortunately, he told me his wish goes ungranted this evening.
I think it's really tough on all the people out here that are missing Father's Day, and it's making them a little bit edgy, and we're a little bit edgy. My wife is real edgy, and it's getting tougher, I think, for everybody.
Since Summer went missing Tuesday night, Don Wells says the Department of Children's Services has helped their family work through the trauma, but he says Summer's brothers are not doing too well.
They kind of fighting more than usual and stuff, and they got into it first thing this morning, and the team come up running up the hill. They heard screams, and so I've been trying to keep it down.
Summer's siblings aren't the only ones struggling. Her father tells me her mother is also worried about the 5-year-old little girl.
She'd be frantic. I mean, she's having a hard time, and she'll be okay for a little bit, and then she's up and down.
This Father's Day, Wells tells me his worst fear has been realized. Do you think at this point that she is still alive?
I really don't know. Hopefully, yes. Depending on how bad or what's going on with her. I mean, there's always hope.
He told me that law enforcement is still blocking the entrance to their driveway to unauthorized vehicles in the hopes that Summer returns safely. However, he tells me that it is taking a toll on his family, and they hope that she is found safe and soon. Reporting live in the Beech Creek community, Bianca Marais, News Channel 11.
Okay. I'm going to scroll through here and see if it's anything. Oh, it's this one. Okay. This one is the 21st.
Live, you're watching News Channel 11 at 6:30.
It's been 6 nights since 5-year-old Summer Wells disappeared from her Hawkins County home. It's what many consider to be a parent's worst nightmare. And this Father's Day, the best gift the Wells family could receive is finding Summer safe. You're watching News Channel 11 at 6:30. I'm Kelly Grossfield. Take another look at this photo. This is Summer. She has blonde hair, blue eyes, and stands about 3 feet tall. The search for her continues tonight with efforts expected to last until 8. But last night they went far beyond that, with crews searching in fields near the home with flashlights and helicopters as well, all into the early morning hours. We've been following the search efforts all day today as well. Bianca Murray joins us live with the latest. Bianca.
Kelly, we're coming up on night 6 in the search for Summer Wells. Search teams today asking for reinforcements with a statewide call that is, to the Tennessee Association of Rescue Squads. Today we've seen teams from the Gatlinburg area here to help, as well as crews from not too far away in Greenville, Tennessee. The search continues, but so does the investigation into what happened to 5-year-old Summer. While what happened to her is still a mystery, I spoke with Summer's father on Friday, who said he believes she was taken. He said he's also facing some accusations, but he said the fact of the matter is he just wants his little girl found. He told us the police have to rule out all suspects, including himself.
Well, I think that they have to do that. They can't rule out anybody. I mean, it's their job is to rule out everybody. They're just doing their job, what they got to do, and everybody welcomes them to do their job, for sure. We really appreciate what they've done.
The TBI reported today that since Tuesday, nearly 70 agencies from across Tennessee, as well as other states, have joined in the search for Summer. We're told crews do plan to wrap up the search tonight at 8 p.m. However, if there are any tips or leads, they will continue to search into the night as they did last night. Reporting live from the Beech Creek community, I'm Bianca Murray for News Channel 11.
Okay, so we have got 2 options right now. We're going to be up to the 21st of June. And I have the TBI media briefing, but also that day, Times News Online released that phone interview with Dawn. So which one do you guys want to do first? Because I'm up for whatever. The phone interview with Dawn or the media briefing? Let me go over here and find this. Let me change this volume. The phone interview. Okie doke. Let me see if it's loud. All right, here we go.
We still got our God, and we still, he's, I mean, you know what I mean? He's got to put our faith and trust in him. He's the only one that knows where she's at.
Right. Well, I guess I just wanted to ask a couple of quick questions about, since we last spoke, have there been any new developments or any changes in
No, not at all.
And I saw where Friday night after sundown they called everybody back.
Yeah, there was some sort of tip or something, and we seen, blue lights up and down Beech Creek, and the helicopter flew till like 4 in the morning, looking around, so we was up till 4 in the morning being hopeful that they, find something, but there's nothing.
Yeah.
My personal opinion is it's maybe some human trafficking ring seen her on Facebook and tracked her down, like some kind of, that somebody is taking her out of the area, and I don't know whether a human trafficking ring or what or who, but I mean, I knew from the first day she wasn't in the area.
Right. Well, did you guys go to church on Saturday?
Yes, sir.
What was that like? Did you guys? I mean, this is the first time you've been back since this happened.
Yeah, when we first, we got there at 9 o'clock, and they had a vigil for Summer, and they had all kind of pictures up on the screen, and when Summer went around that whole church and visited everybody, and so when we first went in there, we both broke down, of course. Me and my wife broke down, and we had to go outside. But they've been very supportive, of course, and everybody has. Law enforcement's been very supportive. was. But yeah, it was. It was. I mean, it was just missing summer. I wish she could be there. Yeah. The thoughts of her not being able to be there with us and with the people that she loves so much, it was heartbreaking. Right. You know.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're fine. Go ahead, buddy.
Well, I was just going to see. One thing I neglected to ask you last time we spoke was just, can you tell me a little bit about Summer? What kind of a child is she? What is she like?
Well, I have a video, and it's on TikTok. That the last video that my wife made of her, and she's got a couple more, and I really like to share them with the public. Okay, but I don't know how to do that. Yeah,
you could. Are we allowed to go up to your house now?
No, but you know, I could get her maybe to meet you at the church, but she don't want to do no interviews because everybody's turning this into, you know, I don't know if you guys have been reading Facebook, stuff like that, but there's some pretty negative stuff on that. Yeah. And they're calling her the Boswell something. I can't remember what it was exactly, but it's pretty bad.
I guess, yeah, that's another thing I was going to ask you is and I don't think that the media has been disrespectful, and I have tried not to be. But I know that in this age of social media, which we're probably close to the same age, and we didn't grow up like this, but in this age of social media, everybody can get online and say anything they want. And I was just wondering how that has affected you and your family. Are you trying to stay away from it, or have you read it?
My wife can't help us to be on there because she's looking for clues. Yeah. She can't help it. Right. But this negativity, you know, is tearing her apart, and that's why she don't want to do any interviews, because she's afraid they lash out on her even more.
Yeah. I don't follow it as close as I should. What kind of things are they saying?
They're calling her I can't remember, the Boswell something, but I can't remember what it was. You know, they're comparing her to that, and just all kind of negative stuff. You know?
How does that make you feel when you see that kind of stuff?
Well, to me, I just hang on to, I hang on to what good people say. I don't listen. We've been dealing with, you know, even in Tucker Drywall, we deal with all kinds, and you know, and of course, I've been to prison. I mean, I try to I try to be around good people. I listen to what they say and what God says. The rest of them can, you know what?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I guess it's got to be hard on your wife though to have to see that stuff.
Yeah, she's not taking it well. She's having a hard time. She's up and down, and then yeah, she really is. She needs some support, and of course, they're not. Our church members try to come up there, and they're just not letting anybody up there.
Right. And I guess you guys are. I don't know what that road looks like, but if it's anything like where I grew up, it's pretty spread out. It's up a holler. Not a lot of close neighbors to talk to.
They've been all through there with a fine-tooth comb.
Yeah.
Several times over. She's not in the area.
Yeah. I just can't imagine who would be bold enough to go up a holler, a blind holler that, you know, unless they had done some research or something and knew what they were looking for. And then have to time it right.
Yeah.
It just seems it's hard to believe that something like that can happen.
Well, to be someone pretty desperate for money or whatever, or I don't know what their angle is, but yeah, I mean, it would be pretty desperate.
Well, I guess how are the kids doing? How are your sons doing?
It seems like they handle it better for some odd reason that I don't understand. My oldest boy, though, he'll stop from time to time and say he misses his sister, you know, stuff. But, you know, your mind has a way of forgetting every now and then. I find myself doing it too. Every now and then but then it comes like flooding all back, of course, you know. Yeah. I might get away from it for about 15, 20 seconds, but it'll all come back. That's the first thought on my mind when I wake up.
Well, do you remember what your last memory was of summer, what you all were doing?
princess kind of thing, 5 years old.
Yeah. She likes to dance. I saw that video of her dancing in the rain. That was real cute.
That's the video I was wanting to get out. She asked if at all possible.
Okay.
I'd like everybody to see that.
Are you working today?
I'm trying to. I'm here talking with my employers now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see how you could. I wouldn't be able to work under these circumstances. It's too much.
Yeah, it is. It's too much, but I'm just trying to have hope and faith in God that He knows all things and that He will protect her is my hope and prayer.
Yeah.
Wherever she's at, and that He will turn it all around someday, to glorify His name. That's what my prayer is. I mean, Daniel was led into captivity, and I don't know. He trusted in God the whole way, all the way through it all. Even to the point of being put into the fiery furnace. Right? He was willing to do that for his God, and that's the only thing I can, lean to is people like him. And
Okay, let me back it up. Did I get that right, or is that wrong?
yeah, it is. It's too much, but I'm just trying to have hope and faith in God that He knows all things and that He will protect her is my hope and prayer.
Yeah.
Is it before this?
Memory was of summer. Well, do you remember what your last memory was of summer? What you all were doing?
Probably the night before she wanted to twirl. She wanted me to. I just hold her my hand while she twirled, because that's what she considered herself a ballerina or a princess kind of thing. 5 years old.
Yeah. She likes to dance. I saw that video of her dancing in the rain. That was real cute.
That's the video I was wanting to get out. She asked if at all possible.
Okay.
I'd like everybody to see that.
Okay, right, okay. Work with me here. I might be thinking incorrectly, but I'm not sure. So the video of her dancing in the rain, this is the one that Dawn wants to share, right? Somewhere up here, he's talking about this being the last video somewhere.
With the people that she loves so much, it was heartbreaking. Right?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Isn't that right?
Go ahead, buddy.
Well, I was just going to see. One thing I neglected to ask you last time we spoke was just, can you tell me a little bit about summer? What kind?
Just a minute. Let me do something here. Where is it? There we go. Pause. See, I should have wrote this down. Should have wrote the time. I knew as soon as I heard it, I'm like, I probably need to know this. Okay. Oh, you be quiet, Windows. Like around 2 something. Oh, it must be here.
What child is he? What is she like?
Well, I have a video, and it's on TikTok, that the last video that my wife made of her.
See? You see? Okay, this happens if you're listening. This happens at like 2 minutes and 40 seconds. He says that the last video that Candace makes of her is her dancing in the rain. That's what he just said.
Can you tell me a little bit about summer? What kind of a child is he? What is she like?
Well, I have a video, and it's on TikTok, that the last video that my wife made of her.
See? Now, I know about the swimming hole thing. Okay, I know about the video. Okay, I got all that. But it's interesting that Dawn thinks this is the last video of her. I wonder if it was raining this day. It's interesting.
Can you tell me a little bit about summer? What kind of a child is he? What is she like?
Well, I have a video, and it's on TikTok, that the last video that my wife made of her.
See? The last video that my wife made of her. And he says that he wants to share it out, but he doesn't know how.
She's got a couple more, and I them with the public. Okay.
I'd really like to share them with the public. And then we get up here.
Wake up. Well, do you remember what your last memory was of summer? What you all were doing?
Probably the night before she wanted to twirl. She wanted me to. I just hold her hand while she twirled, because that's what she considered herself a ballerina or a princess kind of thing. 5 years old. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt. This right here.
Hold her hand while she twirled, because that's what she considered herself a ballerina or a.
She considered herself a ballerina or a princess? No. No. She is a ballerina, and she is a princess.
While she twirled, because that's what she considered herself a ballerina or a princess kind of thing. 5 years old. Yeah.
She likes to dance. I saw that video of her dancing in the rain. That was real cute.
That's the video I was wanting to get out. She asked if at all possible. Okay. I'd like everybody to see that.
Are you working today?
I'm trying to. I'm here talking with my employers now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see how you could. I wouldn't be able to work under these circumstances. It's too much.
Yeah, it is. It's too much, but I'm just trying.
Oh, that's right. Maybe Jean says put Dudley's car in there. They said this was on the 14th when Don fired him, right? That's interesting. That's a thinky thought. Huh. What do the rest of you think about that? That's something. That's a something.
To have hope and faith in God that He knows all things and that He will protect her is my hope and prayer.
Yeah.
Wherever she's at, and that He will turn it all around someday. To glorify His name. That's what my prayer is. I mean, Daniel was led into captivity, and I don't know. He trusted in God the whole way, all the way through it all. Even to the point of being put into the fiery furnace. Right? He was willing to do that for his God, and that's the only thing I can, lean to is people like him. And maybe she's got enough experience in the church that she'll never forget it, and maybe that will lead her back home someday. That's my prayer.
Was there anything that was said at church or any kind of fellowship that gave you a little bit of comfort on Saturday?
Oh yeah, all kind of stuff like that. Yes, sir. I can't remember specifically, but just I don't know, just having good people there for you. It's a comfort. People willing to talk to you. That's the main thing.
Right.
All I can do is put it in God's hands.
Right. Okay. Well, I guess that's all I was going to ask you about, unless there's something else that you wanted the public to know about what's going on.
No, just
does your family need anything? Because I know it's probably hard for you to get out and get necessities and stuff.
No, we are absolutely fine as far as that goes. Everybody takes the searchers and the police, all kind of stuff, and they've been bringing us a lot of that stuff to our house. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They've been really good.
Okay.
Really good. Just appreciate everybody for their efforts. That's all I really do. So I know they're trying hard.
Did they really ramped it up this weekend, didn't they? They brought in a lot more people.
Yes. Yeah, and they're not stopping. They're not stopping. But I just, feel that she's not in the area, and they know that. But they still have to search.
I think, maybe they could find a clue or something too of who was out there. That might be another.
They're still looking for 2 more people of interest that have been through there.
Really?
Yes, sir.
What kind of people are those?
I have no idea for sure. And a lot of this might be speculation. population because I tried to ask them about it, and they just say we're looking into it. Just hang, and they won't give them any information to higher ups, and they, and I can't. I try to help and everything, and I can't do nothing that they ain't doing already. Right.
Okay. Well, I continue to pray for you, and my wife prays for you. We know this has got to be the most horrible time, and it's just like it's unimaginable.
Wait, that was a whole lot. I love how he starts the Daniel story, and then it's like, and then what? He goes nowhere with it. He like name drops Bible people. Like he name drops people from the Bible. Hey, Whistle, you know what? It took me until day before yesterday to figure out who you were. And I'm like, duh. Everybody has all these new names, and I'm just like, your name has your old name in your current name. And I'm like, way to go, Angel. I don't understand. If you're going to try to use somebody from the Bible, some Bible story, the least you could do is know it. You could at least know it. This is the story of Daniel, and this is exactly what happened to Summer. Connect the two dots for me, because I'm having a hard time. Okay, we're going to watch this, and then we'll be done for today. So this is from the 21st still. And keep in mind, right, that on the 16th, the 15th and the 16th, they were very forthcoming in the information that they disclosed. Like everything they talked about, everything law enforcement talked about was very like, this is it, this is what's going on. She was last seen outside her home. She was last seen walking away from her home. She's been gone for 10 minutes. After the initial search, and as we developed more info as part of the investigation, we decided to elevate it because she could potentially be in imminent danger of bodily harm rather than being possibly in danger. She's 5 years old, and she left the house, and evidently she got a little further than they expected. And then it's all of a sudden, we don't know. Everything is unclear. Here we go.
From Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson, followed by Captain Tim Coop with the Churchill Rescue Squad. Summer is still missing, and we are more concerned than ever and desperate to find her. TBI agents continue to work with the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office and the FBI in an effort to determine what happened to Summer. We are utilizing all available resources, to include the FBI's Child Abduction Rapid Deployment Team. We want to reiterate that the circumstances leading to Summer's disappearance remain unclear.
I'm going to back this up for a minute. Lisa said, unfortunately, truth serums are considered to be coercion. Now, here's the thing. So, the whole situation with child neglect, okay? We all know what child neglect is. Most people do. But by definition, let's say somebody's going to give, let's say somebody's getting a polygraph, which we know their polygraphs are kind of like junk science. The only thing that polygraphs really measure are psychophysiological changes in the body. They can't actually detect a lie. They just detect changes in your system. But regardless, let's say somebody's going to get a lie detector test, and let's say they put Dawn on a lie detector, and they're like, have you ever neglected Summer? And he says no. He would probably pass because he believes that he has never neglected her. We know that he has. He admitted out loud, casually, that he did repeatedly neglect her. So it would all have to be a matter of like, if you were to give somebody quote unquote truth serum, they might tell you things that it could mess up what they're telling you in a way that the same kind of idea as a polygraph, when you ask somebody a question and they don't interpret it in the same way as you mean it. If Don doesn't think that he ever did anything wrong to Summer and he's asked questions, he'd pass it. The way he talks about child neglect is it's very casual. You want me to pull that up really fast before we do this one? Let me go find it. Where did I put that? I don't remember. Let's see. It's titled, "Is This Illegal? Is it Child Neglect?" Because I wanted to know. Here it is. Right here.
The following is taken from an article posted on
I'm
the
gonna move.
findlaw.com website regarding the age in which children could be left home alone or otherwise unsupervised. Some states provide a legal age to leave a child home alone. Most states, however, do not. There are, however, some guidelines that have been provided by a collaboration of states and the Department of Health and Human Services to assist parents in making the decision to leave their child home alone. These guidelines include: a child aged 7 and under cannot be left alone at home for any period of time. This also includes leaving the child unattended in the car, unattended in the backyard, or unattended at the playground.
See? A child, excuse me, ages 7 and under cannot be left alone, unattended in the backyard. You can't do that. This is a vulnerable age, and leaving them unattended would be a high risk to their safety. So I pulled up the Tennessee court website just to follow up.
According to the Tennessee court's website, there is no legal age for children to stay at home alone. Parents are advised to use their best judgment, keeping the child's maturity level and safety issues in mind. Younger children have a greater need for supervision and care than older children. Obviously, young children under age 10 should not be left without supervision at any time. In most cases, older teenage children may be left alone for short periods of time. Leaving a child home alone, or otherwise unsupervised, as previously mentioned, can be construed as child neglect or abuse. So when we hear this,
because she loved to be outside all the time. That was her, unfortunately, her downfall. 'Cause a lot of times the boys would be inside and we'd be like, "Where's Summer? Why'd you leave her out there alone? Go get Summer now." And that's happened over and over again. And we'd come out and she would always be close by, but we was always coming up. She had to be outside. She was an outdoor person.
what we're actually hearing is a parent admitting to a pattern of neglect, knowingly and casually. In this revealing confession, Dawn acknowledges that they left Summer alone, outside, repeatedly, all while low-key blaming Summer's minor brothers for it. Don distances himself from the consequences of parental supervision failures by narrating them as routine sibling dynamics. Summer's so-called downfall and the boy's inattention become the lapse, not the absence of adult supervision. How young is too young to leave a child home?
So you see, if you were to give Don a polygraph and you were to say, "Have you ever neglected Summer?" and he says no, pretty sure he'd pass that because he doesn't think that this is a problem. He doesn't consider this neglect, obviously. He's just like, this happens over and over. If this happened one time, that would be one time too many. I mean, if they, the boys aren't responsible for taking care of a 5-year-old. They're just not. I don't know why they're being portrayed as that. But if Summer gets left alone outside by whoever, that one time is enough times to be like, this can't happen anymore. This cannot happen. Like, someone has to be looking after her. State of Tennessee specifically says, obviously, this is like verbatim, I copied and pasted this. Obviously, young children under age of 10 should not be left without supervision at any time. But yet they did that. They did that over and over, according to Dawn. Oof, that makes me so upset. Here we go.
You're going to hear from Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson, followed by Captain Tim Coop with the Churchill Rescue Squad. Summer is still missing, and we are more concerned than ever and desperate to find her. TBI agents continue to work with the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office and the FBI in an effort to determine what happened to Summer. We are utilizing all available resources to include the FBI's Child Abduction Rapid Deployment Team. We want to reiterate that the circumstances leading to Summer's disappearance remain unclear, which is why we've been exploring all possibilities.
I'm going to write this down.
All available resources, to include the FBI's Child Abduction Rapid Deployment Team. We want to reiterate.
Okay, this happens at 0:26. We want to reiterate. That's fancy.
That the circumstances leading to Summer's disappearance remain unclear.
Leading to her disappearance. Leading.
To include the FBI's Child Abduction Rapid Deployment Team. We want to reiterate that the circumstances leading to Summer's disappearance remain unclear.
Leading to her disappearance, not surrounding, leading. I'm writing it down. Before this, it was the circumstances surrounding her disappearance, not leading. Surrounding is different than leading. I'm going to write this, put this in here, just to look. All right, I'm going to push play while I type this out. Here we go.
Which is why we've been exploring all possibilities. Agents and detectives have followed up on a number of leads, to include residential surveillance video and photos from around the area of Summer's home. Drivers seen in the area at the time of her disappearance have been identified and interviewed. While we've not ruled out an abduction, we simply do not have any evidence at this point to confirm that's what occurred. For that reason, the ground search for Summer continues. It's possible that she wandered off and is lost and afraid. Sheriff Ronnie Lawson is going to talk more about what we need from property owners at this point. Sheriff?
Thank you. First of all, I want to let everyone know that what a big asset that Mount Carmel Baptist Church has been to us. They've opened their doors, their church, their fellowship hall, their land. As y'all see, this is a very remote area, and we would be in desperate trouble if we didn't have that place to set up our command post. With that said, we use every available resource that we have, and today I want to use you all. I want the word to get out to all the residents in the upper Beech Creek community, Hawkins County, and Sullivan County. We need the residents to go back today, tonight, tomorrow, as soon as possible, and go back and check their entire property, any outbuildings, any barns, any place a child could hide. We desperately need you to do that for us. It's easier for you to check your own property than it is to send officers there. We have not stopped. As Captain will tell you, we've been 24/7 for 6 days now. So we desperately need help from the community now searching their own property. Any question?
So I just ran an analysis about the two statements, specifically the word leading instead of surrounding her disappearance, leading to her disappearance. I'll tell you what it says. Circumstances surrounding Summer's disappearance. This is a broader, more passive phrase. It typically refers to the general environment, the people present, the setting, the aftermath, the ripple effects. Think of it like the cloud around the event. What was going on around the time Summer disappeared? It doesn't necessarily imply cause, it's just context. This kind of language is often used early on in investigations when the agency wants to speak publicly but avoid commitment, or that there are many theories or no clear suspect, or they're acknowledging ambiguity without directing attention. Now, on the flip side, circumstances leading to Summer's disappearance. This is more specific, directional, and causal. Oh my God, I can't get there. Causational. It implies there was a sequence. Certain events or actions may have triggered or contributed to her disappearance. there may be responsibility or behavior patterns under scrutiny. It subtly shifts the focus from what was happening around her disappearance to what happened right before she disappeared that caused it. That's a meaningful distinction. Why would the TBI make that change? Because this shift narrows the investigative lens, suggests that they may be reevaluating the timeline or version of events given by key individuals leading to the disappearance, leading up to, may reflect internal suspicion about what someone did, failed to do, or lied about shortly before Summer vanished. So when the TBI says, quote, "We want to reiterate that the circumstances leading to her disappearance remain unclear," they're not just being vague. They're signaling that, quote, "We don't know what exactly happened that caused this, and we don't fully believe the version of events that we've been told." That's how it, my little bot, that's how it analyzed the two phrasings. So rather than talking about surrounding, they're talking about leading up to, what caused it. The sequence of events that led up to that is a problem, apparently, which takes us back to the timeline, which we all know is a problem because we just talked about how it's literally impossible. It cannot all happen in 2 minutes. It just cannot.
Okay. Yep.
Thank you, Sheriff. As both of them have stated, we will continue to search for Summer Wells until we locate Summer Wells. As of June 21st, 2021, search and rescue efforts for missing 5-year-old Summer Wells will continue throughout the day and also the night. At this point, we have utilized 72 agencies from Tennessee, Ohio, Virginia, Alabama, Georgia, and North Carolina assisting in these search efforts. Numerous specialized search and rescue groups and canine teams have been represented from these multiple different agencies. To date, we have estimated approximately 2,400 acres have been searched since Tuesday night when she was reported missing. The rugged mountainous terrain continues to cause problems and slow the search operations at times. The search will continue Tuesday morning into Wednesday morning. An updated release will be issued as new information becomes available. And as stated before, if anyone has any information on the disappearance of Summer Wells, please contact Hawkins County Sheriff's Department and our 1-800-TBA fine. Thank you.
We'll open it up for a few questions at this time.
Just wondering, has Summer ever wandered off before?
According to family members, it's not common for her to wander off.
It's not common, but that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Did you guys catch that? Boy, I really liked doing statement analysis with you guys. Did you hear what she said?
Just wondering, has Summer ever wandered off before?
According to family members, it's not common for her to wander.
Not common. I'm going to write it down. If you're listening, this is happening at the 4 minutes-ish. Not common is not the same as never. It's two different things. It's not common, but it happens.
Before.
According to family members, it's not common for her to wander off.
Saturday, there was a pretty extensive search into the evening. Can you elaborate on what that tip was and why there was such a large presence of crews come back out?
Anytime we have information that could potentially lead us to locating Summer, we're going to use all resources. Crews were in the area following up on a lead. Unfortunately, Summer's still missing.
How is the changing weather impacting your search?
Sure, that's a great question. Captain Coop, can you explain?
So the projected forecast here for the next 24 to 48 hours will change our approach. It will not change our aggressive approach. The only thing that this will change, it will change maybe what terrain we approach at this time. Due to the severe thunderstorms, we can't put our teams in danger to turn around and maximize the situation. We are monitoring weather 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with live weather updates. We are also utilizing the National Weather Service who calls us on a routine basis. If there's any type of weather that's approaching our immediate area, they have been more than helpful with notifying us in a very timely manner to allow us to know to we can plan on how we're going to approach these areas.
Talking about the weather, is there concern about some of these crews from other areas having to go back to their area to respond to storms there?
Speaking with some of these teams, especially the teams that have been coming out of state, traveling 4+ hours, they also have had to do what we've had to do is utilize as much resources as we can to find summer wells, but we still have to be able to cover our areas. So a lot of these people, they're still allowing people to stay back. When these crews from out of town then return, they'll swap out. Those crews will then monitor their areas and send us fresh crews, and we are doing the same thing for our resources here locally.
Do we know when the active search will potentially turn into a recovery mode instead of a potential rescue mode?
Let's elaborate on that.
We will address that at some point, but right now our focus remains on finding Summer. We're using all resources as of today, and we want that to be the focus right now.
This is a question more for maybe Leslie and Sheriff Lawson. You just mentioned that you have used some surveillance video, things that you had asked for earlier. Maybe can you elaborate what you saw in that surveillance video and how that might have helped you?
Well, as you know, and you guys helped us get the word out, we asked residents to let us know if they had surveillance cameras around their home or trail cameras. Residents have reached out. We've reviewed those photos and video, and if we identified a vehicle in the video, we would identify the driver and then speak with the driver to interview them to see if they had any information.
How long, when someone typically goes missing, how long does it take to find? Like, is this exceptionally long?
Every case is different. It's a case-by-case situation.
On day 6 now, for maybe the folks that are out there in the field, how are you keeping, I guess, morale and spirits high? How are...
Pause this for a minute. Mishu says, so Summer may have been missing within an hour of getting home if Candace was searching or calling Marlena. You know that this that I'm still trying to find. If you know where this video is, I'm still looking for it. The discussion about the swing and the scream. If you're going to go along with the scream, which happens between 4:30 and 4:42, if Candace is going to agree that that's when the abduction occurred, that would mean that she didn't call the police for 2 hours. Because we know that the 911 call was at 6:31-ish. So, you see what I mean about how it can't all be correct? It can't all be true. It just can't. It can't all happen this way. I don't know about the whole Marlena 4:30 thing. But what I do know is that if we're going to believe that the scream situation, if Candace believes that that's the abduction happening, then that's going to mean that she waited almost 2 hours to call the police after hearing a scream. Okay? If she believes this, and she believes that there was a scream, she waits 2 hours to call the police after hearing a scream or hearing about a scream.
I'm sure folks are tired. They've been out here tirelessly for days on end now. How are you kind of keeping folks engaged and spirits up?
Ultimately, the people that's involved with the search operations, we all have the same outlook. We will not quit until we find Summer Wells. So these guys have spent countless hours, day in, day out, nighttime. The thing that I stress with my guys is if you're getting to the point that you're getting tired, please take a break, get rest, rehab, recover. That way you can come back and continue to go stronger. It is a large family with law enforcement involved. We keep each other's spirits up. It's all a team effort. And to elaborate on it, a lot of times you guys being up here, you start seeing a lot of people leave at the evening time. At the evening time, it is too treacherous and too dangerous unless TBI or Sheriff's Department gets a lead that they need us to go help assist on. Too dangerous for us to keep our guys up in these mountains and this treacherous terrain at nighttime. But I want you guys to know and rest assured, along with the community, that search efforts do not stop when it gets dark. We have been utilizing fixed wing and aerial aviation to literally scan this area from the time it gets dark to the time that we return in the morning. It does not quit. They utilize multiple resources, FLIR, and other things to continually map this area and to continue the search for summer whales.
This is a question more for Sheriff Hawkins, or Lawson, I'm sorry. I know we've talked a lot about there's two different operations going on, Find Summer as well as the investigation. Is there more on the investigation side that you can tell us into anything that you've talked with family members or anyone who last saw her since we last spoke on Friday?
We've interviewed so many people in the community on the road, and we're still jointly working with the TBI and the FBI, and everything is really going real well. We cover each other's tracks, go back and re-interview, and like Captain said, and Leslie, we're not going to stop till we find something.
How is her family doing? I mean, this is going into day 7. Tomorrow will be day 7 since their child has gone missing and no leads in this massive search operation. How is her family holding up? Have you spoken with her parents? How are they doing?
We've spoken with her parents. I can't speak for them. They spoke with you. They're being cooperative. Of course, they're upset. So we continue to keep them updated and do whatever possible we can to find Summer. And we just ask everyone in the community.
It's awfully interesting that during none of these media briefings, like none of them, even the ones that happened after the initial sort of 2 weeks there, that Dawn and or Candace never attended any of them. Like none of them. I have never ever seen that ever happen where a loved one, any loved one, never attends. Like you'd think that a family member would be there. Somebody would be there holding their picture or what have you, making some kind of plea. I don't know.
Especially those of you who have any tidbit of information that you haven't shared to please come forward. Her family asks that as well.
And last week you also talked a little bit about speculation and social media rumors. Has that continued to get worse over the weekend, and is that continuing to maybe even cause hindrances?
Sure, it's always a battle. We ask residents with credible information to call 1-800-TBI-FIND and submit tips through that avenue. We find that we're receiving a lot of tips that is a screenshot from Facebook. It's an opinion or speculation. That's not a credible tip. And it just bogs down the system, as I've mentioned before. So please only share credible information. Someone's opinion or idea on Facebook is not a credible tip. Did you have a question?
I was going to ask.
Okay.
Has the family been ruled out? I know they said that they understood you investigating them and interviewing them. Have they been ruled out at this time, or are you still working?
As we've said time and time again, the circumstances leading to Summer's disappearance are.
Ooh, boy. Oh, my. Okay. Did you guys catch that? Listen very carefully to how she starts this. When she starts to talk about the circumstances. Ready?
Getting them and interviewing them. Have they been ruled out at this time, or are you still working?
As we've said time and time again, the circumstances leading to.
Did you just catch that? You guys see what just happened? She says the circumstances, like she was going to do this whole surrounding thing, and she stopped herself from saying surrounding and instead incorporates the leading to answer. You want to watch it again?
They understood you investigating them and interviewing them. Have they been ruled out at this time, or are you still working?
As we've said time and time again, the circumstances leading.
Did you see it? Did you guys see it? One more time.
Said that they understood you investigating them and interviewing them. Have they been ruled out at this time, or are you still working?
As we've said time and time again, the circumstances leading
to
Summer's disappearance are very much under investigation. And at this time, we continue to explore all possibilities. Okay.
Yeah, she absolutely changed it. Oh, that's awfully interesting. So on the 22nd of June, they shifted their phrasing to leading to versus surrounding, which we just talked about. And it's not, she doesn't say the circumstances surrounding her disappearance remain unclear. It's the circumstances leading to the disappearance are under investigation. Under investigation. Boy, that was tricky. I've seen this so many times. I can't believe I missed it.
Ruled out at this time, or still looking?
As we've said time and time again, the circumstances leading.
I mean, that plain as day. She caught herself. She's like, hang on. Whoopsie, wrong word. If TBI was using the word leading and surrounding interchangeably, she would have continued on with what she was saying. But clearly, this was a conscious effort to change the term. Clearly. Otherwise, she wouldn't have edited herself like that. Can't tell you what else that means other than what I told you before. All right, we've been here for 2 hours. It's time for me to take a break. I can play the loop, but it's way super outdated now. Because Crystal's all, oh my god, thank God. Crystal's all okay, so she still is missing. Okay, there is that. I can't believe that. I can't believe that I've seen that like a billion times and I didn't catch that. That's so interesting. So if you guys want me to play the loop, we can at least hear Summer talking and see her dancing around a little bit, if you want to, before we go. And then I don't know when I'll be back. It's hard to schedule live streams during summer break. We're not getting very far in our research, but that's okay. All right, we'll put it in. We'll play it. Okay, here we go. All right, I love you guys, and I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so glad you guys are so helpful. It's so much fun to do this with you. All right, I'll see you next time. Love you guys.
Why is it doing that? What is
It's lightning, baby.
Oh.
Let's not forget why we're here. Summer Wells, she's the one that brought us all together. I know all of you because of her. We won't stop searching. We won't give up. We're going to keep on going. I think we're all on a mission. So please be kind to one another because you never know. No one is immune from tragedy, no matter who you are. So just remember, what do you want your legacy to be when you leave this life? I love all of you, and I'm so glad you guys are here.
Whatever it is, Brandon, that, whatever reason why you possibly wanted to leave, I wish you just at least let us know that you're okay, because we're horribly worried about you. This is all, anything you might be feeling, feelings are temporary and fleeting like the wind, right? You feel it go by you, but you are not your feelings.
I promised my husband and daughter that I would do everything in my power to get them justice, and that's just what I have to do.
I hope everybody having a good day.
Hope everybody accomplished something significant. Even if you didn't accomplish anything significant, don't be discouraged. Just aim to accomplish something significant tomorrow and the next day, and so on. If anybody's going through anything, I hope and I pray that you get through it, and just know that you do have the strength to get through whatever the fuck you're going through, no matter what it is.